Now, I was contacted by Lydia's son over the course of the weekend, and he said that they had some footage of the police visiting the shop to try and close them down. I asked him if he had the footage, could we put it out, could we publish it? We managed to do that on Twitter. So far, it has now been viewed by 160,000 plus people, and in fact, it has caused quite a stir in West Mercia Police. They have now issued a statement about it publicly on Twitter. We've got it here, but let's have a look, if you're watching or just listening, to what happened.
I've been told if you keep failing to abide by the trading standards saying that you need to be closed, there is a risk that you take on yourself.
I don't get
that if you continue to fail to obey by the regulations,
well, we'll shut down completely.
That there is a risk that you can be given away, or you can have your licence taken away from you, and you can be shut. This is a substantial risk that you are facing by not adhering to the lockdown guidelines and based on what trading standards have advised you already.
We'll have to look into that.
If you want to look into that, I guess I can only go on what I've been told myself.
No, excuse me, you're not even giving us time to sort out what our rights are here. This is wait a minute, this is a business of 30 years here. And
I'm not disputing that.
We don't feel that that the law is right in this respect, that we are not doing anyone any harm by being open. We are doing no harm. What proof is there that we've harmed anyone?
That you're open. You've been told by the Wychavon District Council, the health and protection, the coronavirus restrictions in England and before the regulations, that you do not meet the required premises guidelines to remain open during a lockdown.
Yeah, but you haven't told us why the fact that we're selling food
That's not
items.
up for me to argue. That has come from the regulatory service. That isn't for me to decide.
There that we can challenge it. So that's what
you can challenge it, but that's not with us. That'll be with them. This isn't for us to challenge. That'll be for you to take up with them. As far as we're concerned, we've been told by the government that this does not meet the requirements for the shop to be open. So that is what we're here to advise you. You've been in here to advise.
We've got your advice, yeah.
Okay. Take into consideration, and I've told you that the risks that could be imposed upon this. If you not going to give the details, so be it.
Well, we've given you our details. I've told you 6 times.
Okay.
You have the details.
I'm not going to stay here and have an argument with you. We just wanted to let you know.
Thanks.
So that's the police force in this country in 2020. We're working because the government have told us this. Really? I don't really think the government's actually told them anything, has it? The council has said to the police that we've issued a closure order for this business, and we think that you should go and tell them that we're going to shut you down. And if not only are we going to shut you down, but we're going to remove your licence, mind you, so that you can't actually do any business at all. Here's a statement from the police, which we have now received. It's been put out on Twitter. Following footage circulating on social media of West Mercia police officers enforcing a prohibition notice issued by Wychavon District Council, we have issued a statement. They've also misspelt prohibition, by the way, but never mind that. The statement from Wychavon District Council can be found below. But here's what the police say. Chief Superintendent Paul Moxley says, "We remain hugely sympathetic to the difficult times that business owners, particularly small and independent businesses, are having to endure. None of my officers, and I'm sure no one in Wychavon District Council, joined our chosen professions anticipating that we would have to enforce government rules such as this. However, it is the role of both our organisations to ensure that the current legislation is complied with to reduce the opportunities for COVID-19 to spread. Throughout the country's response to the pandemic, West Mercia's police approach has always been to engage with individuals and businesses first and foremost to negate the need for significant intervention wherever possible." What is significant intervention and what does it mean? This shop has already been advised previously by Wychavon District Council that they should not be open within the current restrictions, and the shop had already been issued with a prohibition notice. My understanding of that is that that was before they started to sell essential goods. Clearly, at the time of the visit, that notice was being breached. Our officers were therefore simply visiting the premises to advise and will report their findings to Wychavon District Council. We understand the restrictions can be challenging, and we know this business is well loved in Droitwich, but the government legislation is in place to minimise the spread of COVID-19 and to keep us all safe. We all have a critical part to play in that, issued by the West Mercia Police Corporate Communications Unit. Now, I'm not sure whether you would agree with me on this one, but I don't think the police there have offered any reason why one shop should be shut while another one remains open. Because if it's dangerous to walk around inside Grace Cards and Books in Droitwich, surely it must also be dangerous to walk around outside it in the corridor of the shopping centre, or indeed inside WH Smith's, where it could also be dangerous. But it's all right to walk around in WH Smith's because apparently it's not dangerous in there. I don't understand. Let us talk now, though, to Lydia Walker-Cox, co-owner of Grace Cards and Books. Lydia, very good afternoon to you.
Hi, Mike.
How are you?
Yeah, great. It's lovely
Good.
to speak to you.
Lovely to speak
Yeah.
to you. Thank you so much to your
Yeah.
son for giving us that video at the weekend. It took off like wildfire.
Yeah, it did.
Pleased
Yeah.
to see that we've now managed to at least get some kind of reaction out of both the council and West Mercia Police. But, I mean, they're not really giving any ground here, are they?
No, it doesn't sound like it. But yeah, I mean, we're standing not just for ourselves, but we're standing for all small businesses out there. This is a complete injustice
Yeah.
to all small businesses that can't operate, while the larger businesses that are selling the same things are allowed to operate.
Yeah.
So to me, that's black and white.
It's very, very unfair. And as far as I'm aware, and you can correct me if I'm not right here, but when you were issued initially with the closure order, that was before you had the essential items to sell, right?
No, the closure order came after we had the essential items in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had an initial visit from the police on the first day of the second lockdown, telling us to close.
Right.
Now, at that stage, we didn't have confectionery and drinks. So we closed the shop and then we reopened with drinks and confectionery.
Right.
And then the council visited us and served us with this notice.
Right. So they're kind of picking on you a bit, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it feels like it. I mean, we sell a decent selection of sugarcraft products.
Yeah.
Which we feel are essential, especially this time of year with people making Christmas cakes and we're selling icing, marzipan. That's all edible anyway. So we've sold that for 30 years.
Right.
So yeah, and I don't know whether you've read the report that there's some lockdown changes being made to people being allowed to sell Christmas trees.
Yes, I have seen that.
Yeah. So good. I'm glad for those people. I wouldn't want any businesses to close, but we're alongside those in the fact that we're selling Christmas sugarcraft.
Yeah, right. Indeed, so it's actually seasonal goods that you're selling.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting as well when you watch that video that right near the end, a customer actually walks into the shop.
Yeah.
Which is kind of ironic, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah. We've had lots of support from our customers. Most of them are saying, so glad you're open. It's great. I served a customer this morning, a lovely lady, and she said that at the beginning of this second lockdown, when we had to be closed, she came down into the town to buy a card from our shop, which she couldn't do because we were closed, and she wanted to use the dry cleaning shop. She couldn't use that either because they've been forced to close.
Really?
So she went
I thought
to a
because dry
supermarket.
cleaners where I am are still open.
Oh, well, I don't know. Yeah, she tried to use the shop. So she ended up going to a supermarket to do both of those things.
Right.
So this is what people are doing. They're going to the big boys to buy their stuff instead of the small businesses. So, yeah, it does feel like we're it's a purposeful thing, trying to get rid of small businesses. The other thing is my daughter visited our local garden centre, which again, we've got nothing against them as a business. We want all businesses to be open. But it does rankle a lot with small businesses when these garden centres are allowed to be open and they sell everything that we're selling. And, she went up there yesterday and the queue was just massive,
Right.
all the way down the car park, people trying to get in. This was at the beginning of the day when they were trying to open,
Right.
And they sell gifts, they sell cards up there. You don't go to a garden centre for anything except a trip or a jolly. You don't go up there for essential stuff, do you?
No, but that's why the essential thing is absolute nonsense. So I've got a tweet here from somebody called Isolation DJ. It says, I was able to buy these really essential light-up DJ letters from Marks and Spencer's on Kensington High Street. You couldn't make it up. There's all sorts of stuff that you can go and buy, which is in nobody's mind essential in any way, shape or form. But they claim in this statement, the police, that you are registered as a card and gift shop. But that doesn't matter, really, does it?
Yeah,
what you're
but can I
registered
point
as?
something out, Mike? If you look up W.H. Smith Droitwich, they are. There's a title underneath W.H. Smith Droitwich that says stationers. They're not even called a newsagent.
Right.
If you look them up.
Yeah. So they're actually calling themselves the same as you, effectively.
Yeah, I mean, anyway, just because in your title you don't have everything listed in your title of what you're selling doesn't mean to say that you're not selling that product or those essential items.
No, exactly right. And also this final paragraph where it says, we understand the restrictions can be challenging, but then they say the legislation is in place to minimise the spread of COVID-19 and to keep us all safe. Well, as I said, how is it any more dangerous to walk around your shop than it is to walk outside in the corridor of the shopping centre?
Yeah, and the other point is, Mike, businesses like ours, we were told to spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds making our shops COVID secure.
Yeah.
We were told we've got to have it, so we did all that. We were good, honest, we kitted our shops out in all the way that the government wanted us to, etc., etc. And then they pull the rug out from under our feet and tell us we've got to be shut.
Well, we can very clearly see in the video. You can very clearly see in the video that you've put those perspex screens up, so you're very well protected from infecting anybody if that was what they were worried about.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as the visit was concerned, I mean, when they said to you you could lose your license, I mean, they don't have the right to even suggest that, do they? No,
I don't think they do. And we've had our centre manager into our shop this morning, and he has reassured us that our landlord is very happy about us being open based on what we're selling, and that we are selling essential, the things that we're selling are okay with our lease. So they're very happy about it, and they're very happy because we're going to be paying our rent at the end of the day.
Well, exactly. And if everybody, I mean, it's a typical kind of, jobs worth type attitude to mess about with something that doesn't need messing about with, it seems to me. The customers are happy to shop there. You're very happy to make sure that the customers are in small enough numbers so that there's no hazard at all for anybody. Yeah. The landlord's happy. You guys are happy. You're paying your taxes. You're paying all of the attentions to health that you're meant to do. It's a nonsense.
Yeah, and we're not taking that government grant that they're offering us, so that's their money, more money in their pockets.
Yes, well, this is the statement that I've got from Wychavon Council, who say that they have distributed more than 32 million to businesses during the first lockdown, and so far 600,000 to businesses forced to close during the current one, and they say that you should apply for a grant from them. But I think you said to me earlier that it wouldn't cover much, would it?
It doesn't even cover the rent.
Right.
No, it doesn't.
So what are they? What's the maximum you could get?
Well, I think it's like $2,500 or something. $2.5 grand. It doesn't even cover our rent.
Right.
And the other thing is that we've got thousands of pounds worth of Christmas stock sat there.
Yeah.
We were all ready for Christmas.
Yeah.
So we've got to sell that stuff, else it's just money on the shelf that's being wasted.
Well, exactly. And I mean, in the end, it may well be that after this afternoon, Boris Johnson's going to say anyway that come December the 2nd, that these particular lockdown rules won't apply anyway.
Crazy.
It really is bonkers.
But,
did you manage to talk to a lawyer?
Well, yeah, we've taken some legal advice, and it's been very helpful. We've got more things in the pipeline because we feel so strongly about this, Mike, that not just for ourselves, just for businesses up and down the country as a whole, small businesses that are, it's tough anyway. Right. Normally speaking, it's tough. Never mind about this coming along. And we speak on behalf of the injustice that's happening to smaller businesses. We're going to keep going. We're staying open.
I wish you all the luck in the world. I'm sure all of our listeners and viewers do as well. So just keep in touch with us. Let us know what's going on. And if they try and get heavy, we may have to take some other action. I don't know what it will be, but we'll see what we maybe come and do a show from your shop or something. They'll have to open it up for that.
Yeah.
Good. All right, Lydia. Well, listen, well done. And thank you so much for talking to us once more. Lydia Walker-Cox there from Grace Cards and Books. Isn't it ridiculous, right? Absolutely and utterly ridiculous. We're getting loads of tweets coming in saying that basically the council have got this wrong, because they have got it wrong. If they're allowing WH Smiths to remain open on the grounds that they sell essential items, well, so does Grace Cards and Books. And it's a ridiculous and small matter that they're registered as a card and gift shop, because as is the stationery business, WH Smith say they do the same thing. So I'm afraid Wychavon District Council have got this one wrong. Their statement says this: "We absolutely understand the challenges all businesses are currently facing and will continue to face. We have supported them throughout this pandemic and will continue to do so. We distributed more than £32 million to businesses during the first lockdown and have so far paid out more than £600,000 to businesses forced to close during the current lockdown, with more applications to process. We are also making £1.3 million available to support businesses that are affected by the restrictions but do not qualify for the main support scheme." Well, there you go, already saying that the main support scheme isn't really good enough. And listening to Lydia there, she says all she would be getting is not enough money to even cover the rent. Both grants, they say, are available for businesses to apply for from our website, and we would urge Grace Card and Books to do so if they haven't already. Well, they haven't, because they don't want the money. But they also say the money would not be sufficient for them to be able to be compensated for no business. The government set out by law the types of businesses that had to close from the 5th of November in order to halt the spread of the virus, reduce the pressure on our NHS and save lives. Not that old chestnut. Grace Card and Books is registered as a card and gift shop, and that is one of the business types that have to close by law. I mean, we're actually closing places where you can buy a birthday card, right? Do you understand how ridiculous that sounds? They were advised of this the day before the notice was issued and told they could continue to trade by delivery or click and collect. Oh, that's great, because that's what I really want to do when I'm out and about thinking, oh, I should buy a Christmas card for somebody or a birthday card for somebody. What I'll do is I'll go home and I'll go on the internet and I'll order it, and then I'll go and pick it up. Nobody does that. They chose to remain open, and so a prohibition notice was issued on Thursday, 19th November, under the Health Protection (Coronavirus Restrictions England No. 4 Regulations 2020. It is important everyone follows the rules, either as businesses or individuals, and plays their part in helping reduce the spread of the virus. Well, why don't you shut the whole shopping centre then? The vast majority of businesses are voluntarily complying with the law, and we thank them for that. Well, I'm sure they're very grateful that you've shut them down, so they can't make any money just before Christmas, so they can't actually even afford to have Christmas. We understand why business owners and the public get frustrated and confused when they see other types of businesses being allowed to continue trading or selling items that are deemed non-essential. Really? You understand it, do you? That's good. The government made the decision on which type of businesses would and would not be allowed to trade and what they would be allowed to sell. We can only enforce the regulations. So, in other words, you're just going to follow the orders. Marvellous, isn't it? Welcome to Britain 2020. This is Talk Radio.